Oh, we are live. We couldn't hear you at all. All right. We didn't have the speaker on in here, and Aiden was doing the countdown. We didn't even know what was going on. Well, welcome in, guys, to Stoidum, and we're so happy you are here on this Monday morning. Sorry we got off to a strange start. There you go. But good morning and welcome in, and we are live here in the Bozard Ford studio on the St. Johns County show that's on in the morning. We have the City of St. Augustine Beach Mayor, Beth Sweeny, in studio with us, and you also have a very, very important job at Flagler College. So we're going to talk about both of those, but before we get started with that, we got to tell you about the great people at Bozard. Since 1949, Bozard Ford Lincoln has been more than just a dealership. It's been a St. Augustine tradition built on trust, family values, and doing things the right way. For 75 years, generations of drivers have relied on Bozard for quality vehicles and honest service. With over 1,200 vehicles to choose from, no surprise pricing, and a drive-happy guarantee, Bozard makes car buying truly effortless. That is the Bozard difference. Their award-winning state-of-the-art facility features 91 climate-control service bays, a quick lane for no appointment maintenance, and over 40 mobile service vans to bring the Bozard difference to you. And even Ford's Garage right there on site. Recognized with the prestigious Triple Crown Award and President's Awards, Bozard Ford Lincoln delivers hometown service with national level excellence. You'll find friendly faces, great pricing, and a better buying experience just off I-95 and State Road 16. Bozard Ford Lincoln, they are driven to inspire. All right, we have other sponsors that we have to talk about. Fidus Roofing, Old Town Raleigh, Ben 39 Wine Bar, B&S Signs, Chris Lucero Bail Bonds, St. Augustine Handy House, and Sonny's Barbecue. Please support our amazing sponsors and hit us with those likes and comments and shares. We really like those shares. Subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble, or download the app in the Apple Store. Check out the merch. We got some new Easter merch coming out. Excited about. All right. It is now time, Mayor. We always do a question of the day. I know I did not send you the question of the day. I did not share it with Aiden this morning. And our question of the day is, have you ever had a black eye?
Not that I can recall. I don't think I have.
Okay. Never had a black eye. Aiden, have you ever had a black eye?
Surprisingly not. After, 5 years of boxing, I was pretty clean. I never really had any too bad of injuries doing that.
All right. Well, I don't know, and you can't really zoom in,
right,
but I took an injury yesterday. You can definitely see it on camera. And I got a knot on top of my head right here. We had an ambulance injury. We were working on the ambulance. Rebecca and I were working on the ambulance yesterday, and she was holding the door up for me. It's about a 40-pound door, and the broomstick slipped. The door came down, hit me in the back of the head, smashed my face against the ambulance. So I think I'm one of the first people to be injured by an ambulance that had to call an ambulance. So, and we didn't need to call the ambulance, but Rebecca was scared that something had damaged my eye pretty bad. So
those head injuries give you a lot.
Yeah,
of blood.
she was pretty nervous about it, and there was a lot of blood. So no black eye.
No black eyes.
And I've never had a black eye from a punch, believe it or not. But I've had black eyes from baseballs and from surgeries. So multiple baseballs. I guess I wasn't as good of a baseball player as I thought.
That happened to my brother. He got hit right in the eye.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, I got hit from a pitch one time in the face, and I got a bad hop one time in the face. So, and it got me actually between the eyes, and both my eyes were black. Yeah. So, all right. All right. It is now time for a quick check of the weather. And today it's actually going to be still a little breezy, still a little cool, but it's going to be a nice day. We should really enjoy the day today. Yesterday they had to cancel the blessing of the fleet because of the wind. So it's still going to have a little bit of a breeze to it, but it should be a nice day before it gets scalding hot. All right, and that's brought to us by Ben 39. Discover one of St. Augustine's hidden gems, Bin 39, located inside the St. George Inn at the end of St. George Street. With over 95 boutique wines, including 50 rated 90 points or higher by Robert Parker. Bin 39 is perfect for date night or unwinding after work. Enjoy wines by the glass or bottle in the peaceful courtyard setting with live music adding to the atmosphere. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Just stop by and say, I'll have what Irving's having. Bin 39, your taste to discover. All right. It is now time for the Hit the Blake's traffic report, but it's hit the Aiden asphalt today. Sorry, Aiden, is that okay with you, to hit the Aiden asphalt?
It's better than what Amanda came up with, so I'll take it.
All right, so what do we got out there on the roads, buddy?
Looking pretty good out there. No traffic that I could find on any of the camps, so if you're going somewhere, you're going to be good.
It looks like it's moving along pretty good. All right, who's that brought to us by?
You're never going to guess.
Oh, I would love to.
Old Town Trolley. Wouldn't you figure? Climb aboard the Old Town Trolley and explore over 500 years of St. Augustine history in the most fun and flexible way possible. This fully narrated more than 90 to 100 points of interest across historic St. Augustine. Features 22 convenient stops across San Marco, Fountain of Youth, Potter's Wax Museum. You get open-air views all day, hop on, hop off, full access, plus free parking at the old jail and welcome centers with your ticket. And when the sun goes down, experience the city's spooky side with the ghost and gravestone tours. Locals ride free with the full fare guests through hometownpass.com. Old Town Trolley, the best way to see St. Augustine, one stop at a time.
All right, Mayor, we usually do one story, and then we'll get into the interview.
Okay.
Then we'll pay a little bills, and then we'll come back to the interview.
Good.
And because you wear many hats, we might do it in parts, different parts. All right. A proposed trail along St. Augustine Beach's main commercial stretch draws opposition. A proposed bike and pedestrian trail along State Road A1A is generating growing concerns among residents and business owners in St. Johns County. County officials and the Florida Department of Transportation recently presented plans for a shared-use Sun Trail, which would run along portions of A1A from Red Cox Drive, that's near the lighthouse there, to Santander Street, and along A1A Beach Boulevard from Pope Road to A1A. The project is part of a larger regional trail network spanning 260 miles across Northeast Florida, ultimately connecting the East Coast Greenway. Officials say the goal is to improve safety and access for cyclists and pedestrians while also supporting recreation, ecotourism, and local business. However, during a recent county commission meeting, several residents and business owners voiced strong opposition. Many said they were not properly notified about the project, only recently learned of plans concerning concerns raised, including potential traffic disruptions, reduced business access, and impacts of visual character of A1A, including the possible removal of palm trees. Others question whether the addition of a 12-foot multi-use path could create safety issues, particularly for drivers entering and exiting homes and businesses, as well as for emergency vehicles navigating a busy corridor. Some business owners also warned the project could increase congestion and pose risk in an already heavily trafficked pedestrian area. While some speakers expressed support for the bike path in general, they argued that A1A may not be the right location, pointing out the sidewalks and bike lanes already exist. County and FDOT officials emphasize that the project is still in the design phase and no construction funding has been finalized. Residents are calling for additional public input and discussions before the project moves forward, as debates continue over balancing transportation improvements with community impact. All right, that brings us to the mayor. This kind of attaches to the city of St. Augustine Beach. How much input did you guys have with this with FDOT? Because it sounded like it was at the county level. And in my mind, I was like, okay, did they talk to the city at all?
Yeah. So when they were, I think right now is kind of when the county is going out, they're at 60% design for the project. And that's typically when you take a project out for public input.
Yeah.
And so I think the process is working exactly how it's supposed to be working right now, where the public is giving us their input, which we really appreciate. We had, I can't remember the exact date. It was probably at least a year or two ago, I think. We had just a brief overview kind of that the project was coming. I've just, because I've been involved in legislative things, you know, my whole career, I think I've been aware of the trail. I wasn't sure exactly where it was going to go. I think early plans had it maybe going down Michler part of it. But, you know, this was the first time that I had seen those plans, just right along with the public. And, you know, it's not technically a beach project. We're obviously here as a commission. I know my fellow commissioners feel the same way, to hear our residents' concerns and to take those and advocate at the county and the state level. We did have, following the workshop that the county and DOT had at the library, we did ask them to come to our next commission meeting. So at last month's commission meeting, they came out and presented those plans again to the commission. And we had quite a few residents fill the room, and we heard their concerns. I know I've gotten a lot of emails on the topic, mostly kind of what was outlined in the article that you read from, safety concerns, which I think we all hear that, aesthetics. I think we've all been very clear that we don't want to see any of the palm trees removed. The current plans right now do not have any of the palm trees being removed. I think we do, maintaining the aesthetic of St. Augustine Beach is important to us. So I know Commissioner Samora at that workshop asked about possible other materials being used for the path there as instead of the asphalt, something that might be prettier for out at the beach. So I think we are trying to gather those concerns and make sure that the county understands those and that it's an open dialogue. And I think that they're certainly willing to work with us. And as the article said too, we're still a long way off from the beginning of this project.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this project, and you know, and I'm a proponent for trails. I think trails are good, but I'm also a proponent of, if the people in that neighborhood don't want it, then don't force it on them. But it's going through, starts in the city. Red Cox is actually in the city, goes into the county, and then back into the city of St. Augustine. So it's working Florida Department of Transportation. It's got state, city of St. Augustine, St. Johns County, and you know, so this project is almost like an
touching every branch.
It's almost like an absolute nightmare if you're the project manager of it. So,
it does really, I think the intent is this river to sea loop is supposed to connect really 5 Northeast Florida counties through a trail system.
Yeah.
And so like you said, you know, I support trails in general. And I think that right now the sidewalks and the bike lanes that we have, which I've been told are not technically bike lanes on Beach Boulevard.
Not wide enough.
That, you know, I've got an 8-year-old and we like to go out and ride bikes, and, you know, she wants to go ride down to the donut place or the ice cream place for a treat. And, you know, I feel really nervous taking my 8-year-old on Beach Boulevard right now. Yeah. And so I would love to see something, if we can make it work for the residents and for the community and for the beach. I don't know if the current design is the answer, but I think that's what this process is designed for, to gather input and to make changes along the way.
Yeah, and I mean, the River Sea Loop's been out there for a long time. It was when I was Parks and Recreation Director, and I think the first advertisement, someone made me, when we did St. Johns County Day, this Ponce de Leon outfit, and for the River to Sea Loop, because it went to the Space Coast, and, you know, because it loops around, and a lot of you, if you've been down 207 and the old Rails to Trails, it's a part of that too. But I'm dressed as Ponce de Leon next to an astronaut in one of the original ads of the River to Sea Loop.
Oh, wow.
So because I had the outfit. It
Yeah.
was no other reason. I don't look anything like Ponce de Leon. So, well, thank you for coming in, Mayor. As I don't know if we've had you in, but the last time our 904 audience, we were doing the reveal of Flagler College, which is your other
hat that I wear.
Your other hat that you wear. Just tell us a little bit about where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Ohio
Okay.
until I was about 14. And then my parents, we moved down to Southwest Florida, so near Fort Myers. So I went to high school there. And then I came to St. Augustine to go to Flagler College. And so I'm an alum. I graduated in 2005. And then I moved away after I graduated and lived in Tampa for a little bit. I worked in the Florida Senate. So I worked for a senator out of Tampa. And so I went back and forth, really. I spent about half the time in Tampa, half the time in Tallahassee. And I met my husband in Tallahassee, who was working for another senator. And he was born and raised in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
And so when we got married, it was kind of the natural phase for us to move back here. So we've been back since 2011. At this point in my life, cumulatively between college and being back, I've lived in St. Augustine the longest. So it definitely feels like home. When I was a Flagler student, my junior and senior year, I lived on E Street out at the beach.
Gotcha.
So St. Augustine Beach is definitely home.
It's home for you. Well, and you're a Flagler. I'm a Flagler grad, and we're trying to get Aiden to be a Flagler.
Come on,
grad.
Aiden, let's go.
He's debating on what, and Flagler's still on the short list, right, Aiden?
Yeah, the short list is only two. So I'm
you got it
going
down to
between.
two.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going between Flagler and UNF right now.
Yeah.
Flagler is the clear choice.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, you get to be cool kids like this. And I was wondering, like, if you met your husband, because I know your husband also at Flagler or in Tallahassee.
No, we never met in St. Augustine.
That's funny.
I'm sure there's probably, if you
There's
could
been
watch down
cross-
from the university, there's probably at some point we were in the same place at
You
the same
bumped
time.
into each other and didn't
But we
even
didn't know it. So we met in Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So and you're a mom.
I am. I have an 8-year-old little girl. Yeah. Wellesley.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So at what point did you decide, okay, you were behind the scenes on the politics side, and it's a big difference going from behind the scenes and then
sure.
stepping up on the podium there. At what point did you decide, or did you think, okay, I always wanted to do this, or what was that decision making moment?
I think I've always had a heart for public service. I've always wanted to kind of be in the process. When I was in high school, I went to something called Girls State, which is the American Legion sponsors that program. And you go to Tallahassee. It was in between my junior and senior year of high school. You go to Tallahassee for, I think it's a week, and you do a whole mock government. You're assigned to a city, and you have elections within your city, and then you have a position. And so I was working in the Senate at that time in Tallahassee, and I have a picture of myself when I was like 17 outside the Senate chambers, and I said, I'm going to work here one day. And then I did. And so I've always, I think being on the inside, you see like what a difference people who are in it for the right reasons can make for their constituents. And so there was an opening on the commission. It was going to be filled by the commission. We had a commissioner step down midterm. And so when that happened, I had quite a few friends, neighbors, people in the community reach out to me and encourage me to apply. So I did. I didn't know what was going to happen, but
All right. Have you actually had to run for your seat again?
I have.
Okay.
So that was just to fill the term until November. So that
Okay.
was like in end of February, beginning of March. So I had to run again that November. And I was unopposed. And then
That's
I had
the favorite type of election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Did you even buy signs?
I did not buy signs.
Okay.
You kind of wait to see for qualifying.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then that was just until that November election was just to fill the rest of the term. So then the term had another 2 years. So I
Yeah.
had to run again in November, again 2 years later. And so I was also unopposed for that election. So I've run twice. So I'm now in my first full 4-year term.
Gotcha. So even though it's like your third and a half year,
Yes.
you're your first full term.
Yes.
But one of the things that, and the beach has approximately 5,000, 6,000 people.
About 7,000.
About 7,000. Okay, you guys are growing.
Yeah.
You're growing. And have you had any aspirations of possibly doing this to the next level, or is it just okay? This is where, because some people are just like, this is only it.
Yeah.
But you're a beautiful representative of the college and of the city. So I was just wondering if is there possibly a situation where that might be in your future?
Yeah. Who knows what the future holds? I've had a lot of people ask me to run for state office. And so right now, like I said, I have an 8-year-old, and since my husband and I both kind of work in the process, it would be hard to pull her out of school for months to take her to Tallahassee with us. Yeah. And so I think right now, I'm really happy serving St. Augustine Beach. Like I said, I love it. I always say it's like living in paradise. And so I'm really happy right now. We'll see when she gets older what the future holds, but.
Yeah, well, and I'm pretty sure Flagler would miss you for several months at that, because you have a very big job at Flagler. What is your official title at Flagler?
So I'm the Director of External Relations at Flagler, and so I oversee government relations, community relations. I work with our town and gown committee that we have downtown. I oversee media relations, kind of PR, all of our storytelling. So if you get our newsletter at the college, if you don't get the newsletter and you want to stay informed about what's happening, you can sign up at flagler.edu/newsletter. And that's a monthly community newsletter that just kind of has news. And then all of our public events, we have something going on all the time that's free and open to the public at the college. And so we want to encourage people to come out and take advantage of those resources. So it's packed with all that kind of information. It just comes out once a month, so we won't flood your inbox.
Yeah, but you did the community table.
Yes.
Flagler College, in partnership with the city, did the community table event on Friday.
Yes.
We went.
Great event. We were so excited. Our first time.
Rebecca went live from there, and it was beautiful. It was sold out. But tell our audience out there what the community table was about and how that came to be, and how Flagler ended up being involved in it.
Yeah. So we actually had another employee that had started working with the city on this, and she had the idea. Some other colleges do. It's called the longest table, and there's other communities. I think Tallahassee has done it, and then of course Commissioner Garris had gone to El Boyo in Spain and wanted to bring that back, and so there was just like a really great synergy there. That we wanted to do something that would bring our campus together. They wanted to do something that was going to bring the city together. And so, Melissa Whistle and we've worked on a lot of things together. And so we started chatting, and I think originally it was going to be planned somewhere else in the city. And I was like, why don't we do it on the campus? We can shut down Sevilla Street right there. We would love to have the community come on campus and kind of see all of our students and what's happening. And so it just kind of took off from there, and we really pulled it together really quickly this year.
Who got the caterer?
It was the college's caterer.
It was the college's caterer.
Yeah, so it was the Airmark that did the catering.
They knocked it out of the park.
They did a really great job.
They knocked it out of the park. The salads were great because I snuck some of the salad, and I had the turkey and cranberry. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. Yes. So whoever's in charge over there, tell them that they get the kudos, because it was organized very well. Yeah. And it was a little warm.
It was a little warm in the sun.
But in the shade, it was beautiful.
It was. I know everyone was pulling their chairs into the trees.
All us Floridians trying to work our way into the shade.
Although, thank goodness it was on Friday and not Saturday, because I think everyone would have blown away. Everything would have blown away on Saturday. Yeah. What a day. The difference a day makes. But yeah, it was great. And we have plans to keep doing this. So we want to bring it back next year, even bigger and better. We being the first year, we had no idea what the demand was going to look like, if people were going to show up or not. And it really just kind of exploded. We had, the event was capped at 300 people and we sold it out.
I heard there was a waiting list of almost the same amount.
We had a wait list of, the last number I saw was 456 people.
So the waiting list was longer than the actual.
Yes. And that all happened within like 3 days of the event. It just kind of blew up overnight on Monday night. So it was too late for us to really, like, the catering order already had to be in. We had already rented the tables and chairs. And so it was too late for us to really expand it any further this year. But we definitely want to increase the size next year. We've already been talking about how we can lay out the tables, and we're really excited. It was just a really great event to bring everybody downtown together.
All right. We have to pay a couple bills, and then we're going to come back to
absolutely.
you. So, all right. Aiden, if you would, sir, do you have the Gas Buddy report where you can pull it up and give us that Gas Buddy report?
Of course I have that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're going to start off with Sunoco on 2199 North Ponce. That's going to be at $389. Shell at 2350 North Ponce is going to be $394. Shell at 146 King Street is going to be $394. Owens at 780 South Ponce is going to be $396. Gate on Mizell Road is going to be $397. Circle K on 715 207, that's going to be $397. Shell on 216 Ponce is going to be $397. Sunoco 450 South Ponce is going to be $397. Mobile and Circle K 800 South Ponce is going to be $398. And the Gate at 4075 US 1 is going to be $399. That is going to be brought to us by Chris Lucero Bail Bonds. When the unexpected happens, turn to the name St. Augustine Trust, Chris Lucero Bail Bonds. Available 24/7. Their experienced, compassionate team moves fast to help you or your loved one get out of jail and back home. They handle everything from paperwork to release with professionalism, discretion, and zero judgment. When every minute counts, remember the name and number, Chris Lucero Bail Bonds at 904-822-BAIL. That's 904-822-2245. I'll say I've heard that read so many times, I actually have the number memorized. So in case I get arrested, I'm good.
You know to give Chris a call. All right. I guess I'm in charge of the live music today, and it's brought to us by visitstaugustine.com. Now, Blake usually writes out on my iPad the individual, but he's on a cruise. He comes back today, and he writes a note, and I did not read this until, like, while you were doing the read, Aiden. It says, pull the website up yourself. I ain't typing it in on my phone. So I was able to get to the website, and we got at Milltop Tavern, we have Chris Lamb at noon, Richard Kanicki at 12:15 at Cafe Alcazar. We have Reggie Starrett at Tradewinds Lounge at 1. Muddy Marshall at 2 o'clock at Ben 39 Wine Bar. Joshua Tennessee Worthy at Milltop at 4:30. Kevin Edwards at Hurricane Grill and Wings at 5. Mark Hart at 5 o'clock at Tradewinds. Edwin Barbosa at Casa Maya at 6. Prohibition Kitchen at 6 o'clock. We have Micah Gilliam, and that is brought to us by Fidus Roofing. When it comes to protecting your home and property, trust Fidus Roofing and Construction, voted Best of St. Augustine every year since 2012. Specializing in residential and multifamily roofing, Fidus delivers expert shingle roof solutions, metal roof installations, and quality paver work built to handle Florida's toughest weather. As a GAF Master Elite contractor, their work is backed by the top-tier materials and trusted warranties. From emergency repairs to full roof replacements, Fidus gets it done right. Call 904-355-ROOF. That's 904-355-7663. Fidus Roofing, where trust is built from the top down. All right. We're not going to do the trends today, so we're going to pass on that. We're going to come back to Mayor Sweeny. So Mayor, what switched when you were a commissioner and you became mayor? Because the votes still count the same, but the responsibilities of, I mean, you set the agenda. What are some of the things that changed, and did anything shock you shifting from commissioner to mayor?
Yeah. I actually don't set the agendas. So,
Oh, you don't?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the mayor position in the beach is really mostly ceremonial.
Okay.
So we don't have any additional powers when it comes to agenda setting. Every commissioner can still request items on the agenda. But it's really a lot more, I guess, representing the city at things. So I think one thing that was surprising to me was the number of requests that I received as soon as I became mayor to start speaking at things.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
so I think that was the biggest, and so far that has been, I think, the most time. And then, of course, people come to you, I think, a little bit more as mayor, at least in my experience. Maybe it's just I have more visibility now doing Mondays with the mayor. And, I think...
You don't think it's still in, hey, call Beth? No.
Maybe it's that too. I doubt it. Dylan is so wonderful. It's... I always say, I'm like, it's not fair having to follow Dylan because he was just such a phenomenal mayor.
Well, he's such a big presence.
He is.
And I'm not talking about his physical size. I mean, I'm talking about like his personality. And he is, when he gets going, he sounds like a Southern preacher. And, obviously I love Dylan and we have a close friendship. But he's always like, when you're speaking, you and I do a lot of speaking in different public things and stuff. You as a representative of Flagler or the city, and you follow Dylan, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, I think he just did so much to raise the profile of the beach during his time as mayor and to really facilitate conversation between the different levels of government. And so I think we're all just really appreciative of everything that he did in his time as mayor. And I'm just trying to live up to that now. And
well, the beauty of the city, I mean, you guys all seem to really get along.
We are really blessed right now.
Yeah,
I see other boards and commissions, all across the state who just have so much, infighting that it makes it really hard to get things done. And we have such a wonderful group right now. I think.
Who's the vice mayor now?
Jenny Morgan, Commissioner Morgan.
Okay.
So she's vice mayor, doing a great job.
And Don and Undine have both served as mayor, and so has Dylan. So
and I think we all just really respect each other. We don't always agree on everything, but we do it really respectfully and have really great conversation. And everyone comes at it from a different perspective, I think, and so we are able to kind of tackle an issue from all sides. And so I think we've had a really successful group right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I've spoken in front of your group for a couple of different times, and it's just like, okay, these guys actually like each other, and because it's not that way in all the boards, and including over in Tallahassee and obviously in DC. But small town politics is different.
Yes.
It's completely different, and it's nice to see. It is refreshing from us sitting here as, we get to read all the conflict, like people, and if we don't, people send it to us.
Yeah.
So we get to see it all. So it's refreshing when you guys have that camaraderie. All right, I want to shift over to Flagler a little bit. I love Flagler College as an alum. You love Flagler as an alum. How did you end up back at Flagler from Tallahassee?
Yeah. So after I was an aide in the Senate, when we moved back to St. Augustine in 2011, I worked for the school district. So I was the head of government affairs for the school district, and I did that for 7 years. So I worked with Dr. Joyner there, and loved it. Huge proponent of our public schools here in St. Johns County. And but then I had my daughter, and so at that time I was traveling back and forth to Tallahassee a lot. And so I did one session where she was a newborn, and God bless, my mother-in-law came and lived with us in Tallahassee and helped us care for her. And I was going back and forth between committee meetings in the Capitol to nurse her, and it just got to be a lot. The travel got to be a lot. And so there was an opportunity to go over to the college, and I kind of just wanted to do something different where I wasn't going to have to go to Tallahassee all the time. And so I actually started at the college in the institutional advancement office, working on grants and working with foundations to try to raise money for the institution. Quickly found out that fundraising is not my favorite thing to do.
Ooh, it's a challenge, and I can tell you,
God bless the people who have a heart for it, because it's a skill for sure.
well, and that's the whole thing, and it's so hard to ask, and
Yes.
you know, and I had to put myself in a position where it's like I'm not asking for myself,
Right.
and like,
Right.
you know, that's where I think I would have a tough time. First off, I don't think I'm electable because I'm so. I mean, you either love me or you don't. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of have a little bit of softness to you, and I don't have that to be a politician. But I've learned that I'm able to ask for home again for funding
Yeah.
and those things, and you know, so it definitely is an awkward and uncomfortable thing.
It's a skill. So it was a growth opportunity for
Mhm.
me, which I really appreciated. It helped me grow in that area and get over some of that. But then I did that for about a year, and then I had the opportunity to move over into the marketing and communications office, which is
Yeah.
I love being over there now. And
Yeah. So you started when Dr. Joyner was there.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But an everyday situation, like, so do you have to go to like do all the PSAs run through you? Because I mean, you know, when I have communications at Flagler, I call you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I used to call Dr. Jordan, now I call you.
Yeah.
But and in case you guys are in the comments, if you want to talk about, we sit on the TDC board together, so we cannot talk anything about that.
Correct.
There's been other members of the TDC that have come in and wanted to talk about TDC, and I had to leave the room. So, so just want people to be aware that we're very aware of our sunshine obligations.
Yes.
So we won't talk about any of those things. But at the college, do the PSAs all go through you, the public service announcements, and
On our radio station?
yeah, on your radio station, and
I do have some people send them to me, but I send them over to our station manager,
Okay.
Dan McCook, who's been there for a very long time, and I don't know how we'll ever replace him. He's just a legend with WFCF. So he's been running the radio station for a long time. So you can send them to me, and I'll send them to Dan, or Dan will. Dan is also a great contact.
how many different majors do we have at the college right now? Because it was a handful when I was
Yeah.
there.
We have-
I mean, it was probably less than 10.
We have 44 now, 44 majors, 47 minors, I believe, and then we have 2 master's programs. So we've got one in the deaf education, and then one for our public administration program.
What seems to be the hottest one right now? What's the most growing? Like, I mean, it seems like the hospitality seems to be, you know, because that's the one I see a lot of, seems to be growing pretty well. Sport management's been very strong since the 90s. You know, education's always been a big component. Deaf education's always been, you know, a big component. But what seems to be like the one that Flagler's like kind of getting to know it, get a name for it?
Well, when you look at like our top majors that students are enrolled in, business is our top major. Psychology is a big one. Criminology is actually growing and is becoming a big program. And we've got great partnerships with the Sheriff's Office and the City of St. Augustine Police Department for that program. And then we've got coastal environmental science is a really big one, which makes sense. Our students are out doing research.
Geographically, that completely
Yes,
makes sense.
yeah. Like you said, hospitality, tourism management is a big one. We just launched, this past year was our first year, we launched biology. So that is a program that we're really investing to grow. And we've got a lot of students that are now double majoring in coastal environmental science and biology. And then, you know, you mentioned education. We've got, you know, some majors that are really specific to our area. We've got anthropology and archaeology. So, you know, Dr. Lori Lee just does a phenomenal job with that program, getting our students out. They're on all the all the digs. They partner with the Lighthouses archaeology program. So Chuck's teaching some courses, and so there's
and they have a strong ESE program.
Yes.
That's our family scholarship is through the ESE program.
We've got a ton of our education grads that go on to become Teacher of the Year. So every year when we look at the St. Johns County Teacher of the Year banquet, and I think it happens all around the state, but we've got a huge number of those are all Flagler grads that are out teaching in the schools, and so it's really great to see them succeeding.
Yep. So here's a question that I have to ask Flagler grad. If it wasn't for Flagler, do you think you'd live in St. Augustine right now? Because you did meet your husband.
Yeah.
Because you have a different story.
I do.
You met your husband in Tallahassee,
Yeah.
even though. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, so growing up I told you I grew up in Ohio. We came to St. Augustine on vacation when my aunt and uncle had moved down before us, and so we were on our way down to visit them, and I think I was like 10 or 11, and we drove through St. Augustine, I can remember, and my dad tells stories that his parents would bring him to St. Augustine down from Ohio growing up. And so I can remember being, 10, 11 years old and walking through Flagler's campus, and my dad saying to me, "Look, Beth, wouldn't you love to go to school here one day? It's so beautiful." And me saying, "No, I'm going to live in Ohio forever."
Yeah.
And then, of course, Flagler was my number one choice. It's the only school I applied to at that point because I think it was just like ingrained in me from a child that I was going to come here. And I just have loved St. Augustine since a child. But I don't know, you never know. I'm sure if I had gone to school somewhere else, maybe I would have.
See, and I'd never stepped foot on campus until my first visit. Dave Barnett. I was Dave Barnett's first recruit.
Oh, wow.
I'm that old. Dave brought me in, and that was the first time I was ever on campus, and I was a junior transfer. And even, growing up in the land, I wasn't that far away. I had never been on campus at Flagler. And then when I got here, I started at Parks and Rec 2 weeks after I graduated.
Oh, wow.
So obviously I would not have landed in St. Augustine if it wasn't for Flagler.
Yeah.
And
well, we have so many students that do that, right? So many of our students right now, our student body is a little more than half come from out of state, and then the other half are from in-state. And but we have so many of them that come here and just fall in love with St. Augustine and St. Johns County, and they stay. They want to raise their families here. They want to start their businesses here. We have such an entrepreneurial spirit in our students.
And the reason it took me that question, I saw in the comments Jeff Holleran, who's a graduate, and he's a business guy here. Paul Abatanozzi, who's at the school district. Him and I were on the same team, and there's so many wonderful people that Flagler has brought to St. Augustine that I think it's made. I'm being biased here, but I think it's made St. Augustine stronger.
We have over 70 alumni-owned businesses just in St. Johns County alone. So it's really...
We probably have more than that.
That was the last number I saw. That was the last number I saw.
If it's just the business owners, okay.
Yeah, I think it's the alumni. So 70 alumni owners. So maybe more than 70 businesses.
Yeah, because, Blake is also an alumni, and his mom is an alumni. So, anything you want to tell us that we've left off, because we kind of got to close it down a little bit, either from the Flagler side. Oh, and I want to compliment you guys. If you haven't taken the tour, the Flagler tour, they have a beautiful interactive. I was playing with it the other day after the community table.
Was it the stained glass or the people that come to life, the portraits?
The portraits that come to life, and Kathy, who's an alumni, is one of them.
Yes. So we just we were really thankful as part of the state grant for the Ponce restoration. We were able to install some interactive exhibits in the rotunda and throughout the courtyard. Those are all free, open to the public. You can come and check them out. You don't have to take the paid tour, although we encourage you to take the tour because it's wonderful too. But props to our team at the Legacy for all their work on that. Samantha Palmer and Nikki Liberatore just did phenomenal work. And so we have these portraits that'll come to life, and they tell the stories of the architects and Henry Flagler and the waiters that worked at the restaurant.
Frank P. Thompson's story, because a lot of people don't understand the Frank P. Thompson story and his association with Flagler. Henry Flagler actually met him at the San Marco, which is where the Renaissance is, and hired him when he was at the Ponce, and had Frank P. Thompson put together a very nice baseball team, which became the Cuban Giants, which was the first professional black baseball team. And the other part of the story, which isn't told in that, is Henry Flagler commissioned Albert Spalding to build a baseball stadium for him. You know where Rick's Muffler is?
Yeah.
There used to be a baseball stadium there that was built by Spalding Sporting Goods, and that's where Frank P. Thompson and Frank P. Thompson also helped put together the Alcazar and the Cordova baseball teams, and they would play. But I have there's a beautiful picture on the National Park Service of the fort. Before that stadium was built, they played right on the fort lawn.
Wow.
And there's a beautiful picture of that. I'll show you after we get off air. So, I just want to say thank you.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Appreciate your service. Appreciate Kevin helping out with what he did with us with Home Again. So make sure you tell him I said thank you too. And appreciate the relationship Flagler has with the city too. So.
Thank you all.
Aiden, how do you want to check the comments, sir? We'll see if we have one more question from the comments.
Sounds
maybe.
Good.
No more questions from the comments, but I will check the comments by on this day of the moon. I will masterfully make my way through the maze of Minions comments mentioned here. Thank you, Bobby, for writing that in the comment. In the comment, he said, "I'm guessing Aiden will." So I kind of had to, but thank you, Bobby, for that. I was actually trying to think of one myself, and this showed right up.
Yeah, Bobby comes through all the time. While you're doing that, while you're looking at the mentions of our minions, I'm going to tell you about B&S Signs. For over 50 years, family-owned B&S Signs has been a trusted name in the signage across St. Augustine and surrounding area. With vinyl lettering and large pylon signs, B&S Signs does it all. Backed by fast installation, expert crane service, and reliable repair and maintenance to keep signs looking their best. Named Business of the Year in 2025, B&S Signs is known for quality craftsmanship and top-level service. Making a lasting impression with B&S Signs, visit bnssigns.com, because when it comes to signs, they do it all. All right, Aiden, what you got as far as comments go?
Nothing but compliments for Flagler. A lot of people trying to convince me to go there. We'll see.
I'll come give you the VIP tour. Let me know.
There you go.
I'll be there. I'll be there April 17th for the Students' Day.
Oh, good.
So,
good.
Well, you might want to get the private one. You might get to see a little bit behind the scenes.
I might have to do that. Kenny said, "This is the first time I've seen a 4 on a gas price, 4.03 at the Circle K in the hammock on A1A." And he said it cost $46 to fill up his RAV4. Lot of talks about black guys. I saw someone got it from their kid with a bouncy ball. A lot of baseball stories with bats. I didn't see any apology from Becca about the ambulance thing though. So.
Yeah,
we'll see.
She called 911 quicker than I wanted her to, and the guys showed up. You know, they were nice guys. They were appreciative of our coverage of what they're going through with their union stuff. So we ended up having a nice conversation. Yeah.
And then finally, Miss Cynthia Garris was in the comments today. So she was nothing but compliments about the community table. So always good to have her in.
Yeah, the catering was absolutely wonderful. I didn't know who did it, but that's your.
Yeah. We do want to I'll put a plug in too. I think we're looking at using additional food vendors, some local restaurants for next year. So if you're interested, you can reach out. I know I've already had some people express interest.
All right. Thank you, Aiden, for that. And I got to give you the Stodom stat today. Stodom stat 1971, Starbucks opens its first store in Seattle's Pike Place Market. That's where they throw the fish. So on March 30th, 1971, it opened its first store with one single employee. That single employee was one of the founders of it. The three founders were Gerald Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Bowker. Siegel, the three of them went to school at the University of San Francisco. They loved this one coffee shop in University of San Francisco. They wanted to emulate it, and they struggled with what they were going to call it. They ended up calling it Starbucks because it was the first mate of Moby Dick.
Oh.
So they were going to call it the Pequod after the ship in Moby Dick, and they settled on Starbucks. I think Starbucks was a better idea.
That was the right choice.
I think it was the right choice. It was probably better than Ishmael. So, and the one employee that stayed on and who gave up their job was Zeb Siegel. Baldwin and Bowker kept their job. And all they served were hot drinks, no cold drinks whatsoever. It was 1,000 square foot. And we all know what else happened after that. It just kind of blown up, and you can't really go too far without seeing a Starbucks
I can imagine a world without Starbucks.
Yeah. See, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so.
I mean, I prefer to go local with the Kook, but
Yeah.
still, I think it's just such a big name. It's all over the world.
Yeah, we're a Kook family. They sponsor.
Oh, you sure are.
One of our, yeah. Hey. I heard that. So, no. So it's pretty amazing what my dad was a Folgers, instant coffee every morning and stuff like that. But like,
well,
today,
it shaped like the culture around coffee.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did. All right, and that Stardom Stat is brought to us by Sonny's Barbecue, craving real Southern barbecue. Sonny's Barbecue, located at 2720 State Road 16 in St. Augustine, serves up slow smoked favorites made to satisfy. Start with crowd pleasers like barbecue pork egg rolls, smoked wings, and crispy corn nuggets. Then dig into their tender baby back ribs, or try one of the Pitmaster's picks with all the classic sides, including the famous garlic bread. And no visit is complete without Sonny's signature sweet tea. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmaster since 1968. And I think they're getting pretty close to breaking ground on their new one out on US 1. So I'm going to be excited to be able to choose which Sonny's we got to go to. Aiden, do you have any plugs, sir?
I got two. First off, suck it, Blake. I covered up his Steelers helmet, put Chris Sale. Go
There you
Braves.
go. And he threw well the other day. He looked like a mastermind the other day. All right.
Second, I got two plugs.
Okay, go ahead.
Second, I'd like to shout out the Interact Club again. I'm actually missing a meeting to be here. So they're planning it right now. They're doing all the work. So shout out to the rest of my officers. But they're planning our Meals of Hope event. I believe our current goal is to package 20,000 meals this year for the homeless in St. Johns County. So big shout out to them and everyone working on that. That's going to be April 11th. So they're doing great work over there.
All right, and we have a shout out. Your theater group's going to be on Bollocks tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to have the theater group from Flagler on Bollocks Tuesday at the 5 o'clock show. And if you guys, we're still looking for one more sponsor for Stoidum, starting here in a couple of days. If you have anybody that you have in mind, please have them reach out to me. Troy 904now@gmail.com. We appreciate you guys. Thank you again, Mayor.
Thank you for
This is
having
where
me.
we wave and smile. Bye-bye.
Bye.